Hi, I'm George from Delta Hydrofoil, and I wanted to talk to you about some tuning tips for getting the most out of your Delta. So there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. The first one is stabilizer tuning. Now, for most of the wings that we offer, the stock tuning with no shims is actually perfectly fine, but some people may want to tune it just to personal preference in any case. So I'll go through on how to do that. But in this specific case, I wanted to talk about the tuning that most people will probably want to do if they own a reflex wing. This particular one is the 1500 reflex, but we also have the 890. With the reflex wings, they have downforce built into the trailing edge of the wing, so there's less downforce that's required from the stabilizer. So if you ride the reflex wings with the stock stabilizer position with no shims, you may find that you have some front foot pressure that's kind of persistent and that maybe gets more firm on your front foot as you go faster and faster. So you're kind of feeling like you need to push with your front foot to keep the foil from coming up. So the way the stabilizer works is that the front wing pushes up, provides the lift force for the rider, and the stabilizer in the bottom actually pushes down. So the force of the stabilizer makes the nose of the board and the nose of the hydrofoil come up. So if you're having excess front foot pressure, what you want to do is actually make the angle of attack of the stabilizer less. So you want to shim under the front of the stabilizer to reduce the force on your front foot. So that's actually pretty easy to do. What you can do is take an expired credit card or a gift card and you cut a little square out of it. So this is probably 1.5 centimeters, or let's say 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch. Of standard gift or credit card stock, and you can place that on the saddle for the stabilizer right in front of the front screw. You put the stabilizer down and then just put the 2 screws in, and you've got less angle of attack for the stabilizer and reduced force on your front foot. And I would recommend using maybe 1 thickness, but you could use 2 thicknesses if you find that with one you're still having more front foot pressure than you want. And of course, front foot pressure is also related to how you're standing in relation to the foil. So if you're standing too far back on the board, you're going to have front foot pressure all the time. And if you're standing too far forward, you won't have any front foot pressure and you'll have a hard time through the transitions. So when I'm talking about what you need to do in terms of shimming the stabilizer, it would be sort of front foot pressure that comes on at higher speeds. So maybe at low speeds, your feet are feeling even pressure, but then as you speed up, it feels like it's pushing you out of the water. So that would be an indication that you need to reduce the angle of the stabilizer in the back. If, on the other hand, you feel like you don't have enough front foot pressure, then you would want to shim on the rear of the stabilizer. So you would want to take your little shim stock and put it behind the back screw and then tighten that down. So something to experiment with, I would say, on almost all Delta hydrofoil wings, with the exception of the reflex wings. The stabilizer angle is pretty close to optimal. But with the reflex wings, and there are plenty of people that ride the reflex wings without shimming and they like it, they're satisfied with it. Maybe they don't really like to put the hammer down, go super fast. They just like to cruise. I'm all good with it. But if I feel like, for me, I like to have the trim of the foil be uniform throughout the speed range. I like to ride it with a shim in the front. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the new R-frame design. This is the R-frame with the short tail. And one of the features of the R-frame is that we've moved the mast position back with regard to the wing. And we did that for very specific performance reasons. We saw a huge uptake in performance going upwind with the mast further back. So this is the standard kite fuselage. And if I line up the mast position between the two, you can see that there's 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, that the wing is now further forward than it used to be. And what that means is that when you use the R-frame system, you're probably going to want to mount this as far back in the tracks as you can go. Or if you have extremely long tracks, you have a lot of adjustability, you're going to at least want to go a couple of inches further back than other foils that you might have used for that particular reason. So I think that about wraps it up, what I wanted to talk about. And I would encourage you to experiment. Try some things out, ride it, see how it feels, and try to think about when you're out there riding the foil, specifically, what is it that you're feeling? Do you have excess pressure on your front foot, excess pressure on your back foot? I also recommend when you do these tunings to maybe do them with no straps at all. That way you'll place your feet where they naturally go, and you'll have a better idea of what the effect of the tuning is rather than effects of your foot position. So yeah, thanks so much for your attention, and happy sailing.